imagine if I had given up before this. I would have missed out on these incredible opportunities that are now coming my way. And that failure led me here. And I think that's the best part about just trusting in the process, because when you fail, it allows you to pivot in ways that bring you closer to what it is that you've been putting so much sweat equity into for however long you've been doing it. But if you quit too soon, when you're right at the edge, you'll never get there. Hey, I'm Jessica Cruz, and you're entering A World Gone Good.
Well, hello, my name's Steve, and this is the place where we spotlight everyday people making good happen each and every day. Welcome to World Gone Good. This here is part 2 of our oh-so-good conversation with Jessica Cruz. If you haven't checked out part 1 yet, I highly recommend you do. Jump back an episode, listen to that one first, then head back on over to keep going here with us today. Don't worry, we'll keep this here podcast warm and ready for you. Now, for the rest of you who have already heard part 1, we won't make you wait any longer to hear the rest. Here comes Jessica Cruz from Vegan Street Fair to share part 2 of her good journey. All right, let's go back then. So you send out an email to who? Who was the first foodie?
Oh,
what was
shoot.
Yeah.
That was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah, wait, no, it's my fault. We got off. No, this is normal. This is normal for me.
So I don't remember 10 years ago how it all worked, but I remember my ex-husband, his mom, and me. I was pregnant at the time. I was 3 months pregnant, and I had a 1.5-year-old. So I wasn't the one going out reaching people. My ex-husband did, and bless his heart, because he got 44 vendors to buy into this idea. But the feeling was just like, hey, do you want to take a chance on this? Like, I'm really excited about it, and this is going to be very fun. And the marketing spoke for itself. I was really gung-ho. I posted every single day. People were excited because they'd never seen anything like it. At the time in LA, there were no free vegan festivals whatsoever. And the only 2 vegan festivals we had, or events we had, were 2 ticketed events. That one of them was like a veg fest, which I wanted to stay very far away from. And then the other one was like a beer fest, which I loved. But it was like, they had musical acts and a stage. It was like $50 to get in. There was beer. It was awesome. It was one of my favorite events ever. So I was like, well, I'm going to do everything opposite. I'm going to have a free event. I'm not going to do music. I'm going to do a DJ, or I'm not going to do live music. I'm going to do a DJ, and I'm not even going to touch beer because that's their thing. So I would have carved my own lane. And I think because I had such enthusiasm for it, other people felt that, and they came to me with the same reciprocal energy where they were like, you're making this sound really fun, so we want to be a part of it. And we've had up to 200 vendors at this event ever since. Like, we started at 44. We now have all of these other vendors and other events, and we've done it in other cities even. And now we have investors and funders who are like, look, we want to just give you money to put this up everywhere. We don't want anything back in return. We just want to be about the cause and the movement. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, that dream that I had 11 years ago of like putting something together for the community and myself is now turning into other people's dreams as well, because they get to use what I've built to push the same message I'm pushing.
And we're talking community. That's our word here since January on the show. And what you've done is you've created a community. You created a community that was already there, but you gave them a place to come together. And that is what community is.
Correct. They didn't even know they had each other.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook group still. I don't really go on it at all anymore. It's called Power to the Veg. And those people all still know each other. It's like 9,000 people strong. It's been going on for 15 years now. And when those people met in person, or those people, or not even the people from the group, but just random people that met at this event, some people met their partners there. Some people met their best friends there. It's like, oh my God, I'm so glad we're talking about this. Building community through events is honestly the way that you sustain them, because just going to a random event, it's not going to leave you with feelings of, I need to go back there, or, this was good for my soul and it fed my soul, not just my stomach. I think that that's what's missing in the world these days, because COVID kind of changed everything, which we could get into later. But I do think that the future of the world rests in community. I really do.
I do too. And I think social media has, unfortunately, it's got its positives, right? We can be anywhere in the world. We can talk to anyone. We can connect. But the connections that we make are sort of celebritized versions of ourselves, false versions of ourselves, right? Even the simplest things of like, oh, I'm going to put this picture. Hold on, let me put this filter on it because it'll brighten me. You know what I mean? It'll make the background look better. Oh, I don't like that angle. Let me take this picture again. The whole idea of a selfie, my God, the whole idea of a selfie is the fucking opposite of community.
Right.
It's not horrible, everybody, but it's also not great. It's, I've been to 10 plus years ago with my family, and my niece says, no, let me take it, and holds her arm out, because we have to do it that way, because it's always pointing back at ourselves, where community is about each other and the feeling we get that we're all together. Okay, tell us the cities.
So just so you know, I've mentioned this multiple times. I'm a little delusional, and I do think you have to have some version of healthy delusion when you're an entrepreneur, because you have to be able to take risks that other people won't. So I say that all to say, in 2023, I decided to expand, and I did 7 cities in 2023, which was insane. In the middle of that, I discovered that I had breast cancer, which is now gone. I had a double mastectomy. I'm now a survivor, which is awesome, but it definitely pushed back efforts because I have a very small team. I was the one flying out to all these places. And then in 2024, I did the same thing with 7 cities. But in 2025, I pulled all of them back, and now I'm only doing 3, the 3 top cities, because in the other ones, we just weren't getting a ton of vendors signing up. And I don't know why that is, but I was like, let me just focus on the cities that are doing very well. So we did Atlanta, we did Miami. This is 2023. We did Atlanta, Miami, Austin, New York, LA, the Bay Area, and Seattle. And that was really fantastic. Like we definitely got our foot in the ground over there. And then in 2024, I took out Vegas and I took out Miami, and I know I added 2 more, but I apologize. I don't recall. But now the ones that are left, the ones that are doing the best, Los Angeles, Seattle, and the Bay Area.
Interesting. Now, question to you. Can we talk about the breast cancer for a minute here?
Of course.
How many people said to you, you're vegan, how did you get breast cancer?
Dude, listen, I am a vegan until the end of my life. But I have to say, sometimes vegans can be the most insufferable group of people that I know. And I don't say that to offend any of you. I say that so that you can potentially look at yourself and say, am I one of these insufferable people? And is it something I really want to be? Because when I tell you, the way that I felt when I would get that DM or that message was gut-wrenching, because what is the assumption? Is the assumption that I didn't do veganism right?
Right. You did something wrong.
Right. I did something wrong, therefore I got breast cancer. And again, it goes back to this idea of health, which is some people purport veganism to be this cure-all, this thing that solves all problems. And in many cases, it can. There are many health benefits. Please do not get me wrong. Those things are true. But things like breast cancer, they're not discriminatory here. They're going to choose you because you have high estrogen or whatever, right? Like in my case, I had high levels of estrogen for whatever those reasons were. And that's not a vegan thing. Like, veganism's not going to cure that. That's just what my body does.
It's called genetics.
It's called the real world. It's called the world we live in.
Right.
Like,
and also, you have to take into the account, and we're learning this right now with our own government and everything that's happening, the air we breathe, the water we drink, all the food we eat is controlled. And wake up to that, everybody. And they're deciding how much money there is in sick people, because quite honestly, there's money in sick people. If we're all healthy, forget it. There's money in war, because if we're all peaceful, right? We're all getting along and eating well.
Right.
It's a sick. That's the sickness. Continue.
Yes. No, God, I really could talk about this on a whole different podcast, but it is very true. And there are so many things that we as people can control within our own lives. And there are other things we simply can't, right? Like, if the air that you breathe that you do not control is somehow affecting you, sure, you can up and leave, but chances are you're not even going to know it. It's just where we live. Let's not even talk about microplastics, right?
Right, and let's not even talk about, like, when I was a kid. I'm older than you. I'm a kid in the 70s. We didn't put sunblock on. And we used to we get these sunburns that were so bad on our ears. We used to get these, like, it almost felt like waxy bubbles on your ears, and then you'd pop them. It felt so good, and all this, like, oozy crap will come out. But that's a delightful story I just shared. Now, compound that by 50 years later, and we don't know what that little ticking time bomb, right? Sitting that changed those cells, that manipulated those cells 50 years ago, is going to finally catch up and go, bing, it's this now.
Say it. Exactly. And so, I think that, like, people have good intentions. I joke about insufferable vegans, but sincerely, please consider not being that. But I also understand that a lot of this comes from good intention, right? Like, people really care, and they think that they have the answers for you. I would get DMs all the time being like, don't get a double mastectomy. Don't do this instead. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like, we have modern medicine these days. Why on earth would I choose to potentially allow this cancer to spread or get worse for a natural remedy? That's insanity. And look, I don't knock anybody for doing that or trying that, but I have heard far too many stories of people that did things like that. And then when they went to check on their cancer a year or two later, they're at a stage 4, and they were at a stage 1 before. And it's just not something that I think people consider with their good intentions, that, like, God forbid you are the one who tells me not to go through with a double mastectomy and not to take tamoxifen because I can, quote unquote, heal it naturally. And then 2 years down the line, I'm dying of breast cancer because of some bullshit unsolicited advice that you threw in my DMs. Like, are you going to be okay with that? And again, I know this all comes from very well-intentioned places, but I also just wish that people were a little bit more compassionate and empathetic towards folks going through this stuff, because I can't make anything of you coming into my DMs unsolicited without me asking you and getting the type of advice that could potentially kill me. I can't make sense of that, but I know if I'm just putting myself in their shoes, they are coming at it from a good place. I think it just needs to be edited.
Yeah, it's also so interesting to me of how boundaries are so lifted on social media, and anyone could just send you a note and give you an opinion on something. You're like, I really didn't ask that. I also don't know who you are. And again, I have to be careful because I run a business and I don't want to lose a client or a potential person. And at the same time, fuck off, because you do you and I'll do me. For the very same reason of, like, what is it, like 40, 50% of this country is obese?
Right.
And I could sit around and opinionate on that all day, but I also have to just say, I said, maybe I'll take this out. I said a long time ago, if you ever want to feel better about yourself, go to Phoenix, where my sister lives and my mom live, Go to the mall, go to the food court, spend 5 minutes and look around that food court. You will feel so much better about yourself when you see how people are just living their lives, treating their bodies. And it's so easy to make those judgments because there's a judgment I just made at that point, right? But it's interesting. It's good that you have the ability to say, and as frustrating it is, you're coming at this from the best intention. You're trying to provide me. You believe you're doing something good. Shut the fuck up.
Keep that shit to yourself. And if you ever end up in that situation, I hope that you can make the decision for yourself. I hope that you can trust yourself enough to know that whatever choice you're making is the right one. But when it comes to giving people advice or dropping into their laps something that they didn't ask for, it doesn't create a sense of harmony. It doesn't feel aligned or united. It really just feels like you are giving me something that is not of me. And sometimes we need that, right? Like sometimes we need people in our lives to be like, hey, you need a little bit of a perspective shift. But if I don't want that and I didn't ask for that, that's not something that people should just be readily dropping. And I've publicly called people out for this shit. And I get it all the time with even street fair, right? When I was struggling with street fair, people are like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? What about this? And I'm like, guys, I've done literally all of that and none of that works. Again, it's coming from a good place, but these are people who've not fucking gone through it in the same way that these people that are trying to offer me unsolicited advice about breast cancer have never had fucking breast cancer. Don't tell me to go drink soursop juice from this healer because don't do it. Don't tell me to go buy vitamins from so-and-so that's going to cure my cancer. Cancer's not curable. Quit that shit and just live your own life, right? Do your own thing, inspire others if that's what you're going to do. And I think maybe that's the message. And it's the same with veganism and how I approach it even. It's like, I'm going to live my life in the way that I feel the best. And if it inspires you, fuck yeah. If it doesn't, that's also okay. But I am not going to force my shit upon you and tell you you're wrong for XYZ things or try this for XYZ reasons. I will just be here if you have questions. And I think if people approached relationships and community more like that, we'd find more harmony with each other.
You mentioned a few times that there's been some struggles with the street fair financially, and I think that maybe you can go into that a little bit because I think people may or may not, I'm not even fully aware. I'm sure there's insurance you have to get. I'm sure there's permitting you have to get. I'm sure you have to work with the city. I've done event planning. I know how fun that can be. What is the struggles that you've gone through recently?
So part of the struggles, it's financial at the end of the day is the umbrella theme here. We live in a different economy right now than we did pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, Vegan Street Fair and all my events were incredibly profitable, incredibly successful. We had 200 vendors having zero problem paying $2,000 because they would leave the event making 20. So, in those times, in the olden days, it was our golden era in veganism. And then COVID happened, and I have lots of theories on what happened since then. And, we don't have to talk about what is currently happening in our economy and how that is also affecting people. But you're always having to edit how you host events or how you move with different economies and different circumstances. So once 2020 happened and COVID hit, we were about 2 weeks. We were 2 weeks before Vegan Street Fair LA, which was going to be our biggest event ever. We had 200 vendors. It was 2 days. We had a lot of sponsors. It was just fantastic. We had a lot going on. And the event was canceled 2 weeks before it was scheduled for. Now, at this time, we've got staff. We've got billboards out. We've got street banners out. We hosted 25 vendors in a studio where we shot interviews and B-roll, and we had to edit and we had to do captions. Each video was about $2,500, $3,500. And we had spent all that money. Like that money wasn't there anymore. The money was gone. Not to mention I had to refund all of the fast pass holders, people that paid $60 to skip the lines. So we were already out $60K, and I promise this is going to come back around. But because of that, the idea was, hey, vendors, we're going to do exactly what all these other events are doing, including Coachella and South by Southwest. We are going to credit you for the next event. And at the time, we didn't know how long this would take. We were like, this shouldn't last very long. Like, we'll be back this year. Little did we know, but some vendors were good with that. Some vendors were like, okay, thanks for the credit. We'll see you when we see you. And then other vendors weren't. So I had vendors like putting through chargebacks, which again, we didn't have any money at this time. Like everything was invested, every single penny. Some vendors sued me for their fee. And long story short, I ended up crediting about 100 to 150 vendors. But here's the rub. If I'm crediting 100 to 150 vendors for an event, I'm not getting any of that money, right? Like that money has to come from me. I have to make it. I have to put it in. So that's, let's just call it 150,000 that I had to make up for this next event in 2022. And slowly but surely, it started to come about that like I was still very under. And I have been under ever since because of COVID, right? Like I'm still about 100K in debt. Hence the reason I tried to keep hosting these big events, because I was like, well, if I have more of them, then they can fill the coffers. But then those events ended up costing me too. So this is like where the delusion comes in, because it's like, when do you quit, right? Like at what point do you just hang it up? And come 2025, what happened was, again, because you're constantly just trying to have this event in whatever capacity you can have it, I dropped all my fees for the vendors by a significant amount. I took out requiring a 10% of sales, which was very helpful over the past 2 years, in the hope that double the vendors would sign up and then we'd be able to pay for it. But that just didn't happen because of the economy we're currently living in, right? There's vendors that just don't have $1,000. So it's a long-winded way to say, when it all came down and I was looking at all the finances and realized that I was very, very short, I was just like, shit, like there's nothing I could do at that point, right? Like I can't find vendors at the last minute to sign up and do this event. But I persevered and I got through and I was able to get myself to the next phase. But this is the thing people don't realize about business. Everybody thinks, I've heard people say like, oh, Jessica's rich. Jessica's rolling in it. Listen, I haven't taken a vacation in 5 years. I've not left this state to take a vacation in 5 years. I am constantly under the gun, which is, full circle back to the beginning of this conversation. There's a little bit of a codependent relationship that I have with this event where I'm providing this service to everyone, but I'm getting the shit end of it all the time. And people have their stories and they think that I'm rolling in it, but it's like, look, it does cost $150,000 to put this event on. I have to block a mile worth of streets. I have to get security. I have to get staff. I have to get porta potties. I have to do signage. I have to do marketing. I have to do, all the things. It adds up very quickly. Anyway, I don't even know if that answers your question, but the point is, I just wish people had more empathy for that and stop assuming what they think they know to be true. Because if you ever really talk to an entrepreneur who's struggling, you'll get to the root of what's actually going on. And it has very little to do with the story that you think you have in your mind, because you have no idea about how to host events. It's not your lane. In the same way that people trying to tell me to drink soursop juice to cure my breast cancer. You've never had breast cancer. Like, stop. Just stop.
The main way people can help is to show up. And whether they show up as a vendor or they show up as a eater,
yes,
it's to show up. My husband and I came to it, I want to say 2018, 2019-ish.
Okay.
And I made the big mistake of starting big. Let me just explain what that means to everyone who doesn't understand. Okay. I began with a double burger with this spicy sauce, jalapenos. It was the most fucking delicious thing. My husband had 2 bites of it and he wanted it. Like, my husband's apparently more intelligent than I am. Oh, I finished it. My hands were on fire from all of the juice of the deliciousness. You know what I mean? All the spices.
Mm-hmm.
But I started too big, everybody. Meaning there wasn't room to go. My tummy is only so big. So, we literally walked around for a bit and he was getting little things here and there. And he's like, you want to try that? I'm like, nope. No, I don't. Because I will throw up the burger, which is delicious. Right. And we literally walked around like 2-3 times and then sat for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, what was I thinking? Because I wanted to try everything. Like, I'm that person who there's a restaurant in New York City. It is a deli, actually.
Okay.
They have something, and this is back when I ate meat, called the Indecision. It is their 3 most popular sandwiches cut in half. So you get a full sandwich and a half, right? Now, one of them is the 4th of July, so it's got fried chicken and cranberry sauce. One's the Thanksgiving. It's got turkey and mushrooms and stuffing. And the other one is something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
This fucking idea. That person deserves an Academy Award for that idea. It's just enough of, because when you go to something like your street fair, right, you want to try everything.
Yes. But
I failed. I failed from the fucking beginning because I got greedy.
Rookie mistake happens all the time. This is also why we have every vendor have a $5 option, because the whole point is if you want to eat your way through vegan street fair, then you can do that with $5 bites from it. We also have a passport, which allows you to do that. It's a really cute little passport booklet thing. And you go to all the vendors and they'll stamp it and give you your $5 item. It's super cute. I recommend it to everybody. But that happens. And because it is a food festival, you do have to have a plan. Or bring Tupperware, or understand what you're doing, because if you don't, you end up in this situation just sitting there being mad at yourself that you screwed up.
I went to a cupcake contest in Palm Springs, Palm Desert. This is I had just become vegan. I think this was like 2013 or 2015 maybe. And it was in a hotel in a ballroom. And there were people, you paid like $55 to go to this thing. And they had celebrity bakers, they had local bakers, they had the, at-home bakers. But there were people going around with these little carts with little doors, little like Tupperware, like you said. But it was the cutest thing. They'd like open a little door, like pull out a little shelf, put the cupcake in, close it. But they literally were just filling up their little Tupperwares and going home. Yes. And this jerk right here was going up and going, do you have a vegan option? We do. Help. Do you have a vegan option? No, we don't. Next one. Do you have a vegan option? Yes, we do. Help. I had like 14 cupcakes that day, and I do not regret it, everybody. I do not regret it. There was insulin in the car afterward. No, I loved it. And even then, there was something about it that felt very New York to me. And the pavement might have been some of it. Right? Like you're on the pavement, because I think it was in North Hollywood. Am I right?
Yes. But that's okay. So I'll throw this in. Vegan street fair is fully New York style, because when I was thinking about an event, you know what came to mind first? The San Gennaro Festival.
Right.
It's the idea that you don't have to be Italian on this day, or, it's like it lasts for 2 weeks. Come, enjoy the food, enjoy the music, enjoy the people. We are open to everybody, and we want you to experience Italian culture in a very non-intimidating and non-ticketed way. Like, we want to remove as many barriers as possible. Just come. You don't have to be Italian to enjoy this. And that's why vegan street fair is what it is, because those are New York street fairs in general. It's like, you don't have to be vegan to enjoy this. Just come, have a good vibe, eat some really good food, walk away with whatever you want to walk away from or with, and do with that what you will. But it is 100% New York inspired. Like, for sure, without a doubt.
It's about flavor, everybody. It is not about which dead animal or which zucchini that is taking the place of a dead animal. It's flavor. Like, I mean, come on.
Nice.
It's so funny. All right, tell everybody when the next street fair is and how they can, whatever city they're in, check it out.
Yeah, so the next vegan street fair is in Seattle on August 9th. 11 to 7, obviously free entry, as we have talked about. The one after that is August 30th in the Bay Area. That is at Faction Brewing in Alameda. It's our third event in both of those cities. We've done 3 years. This will be our third year in each one of those. And then after that, we have Vegan Creator Con, which we don't have to talk about right now, but it's basically a conference for vegan content creators about learning how to use social media, honing their skills, and making careers out of it so that they can be sustainable careers and businesses and keep pushing the vegan message in whichever ways they like. That is October 4th and 5th in New York. And that is it for this year. The next Vegan Street Fair LA is March 28 and 29, 2026. And then Vegan Creator Con LA is May 2nd and 3rd. Highly recommend any of them if you have time, if you can fly out to one of them and make a week of it or a few days of it. These events are super fun. They are very well produced. I'm biased, but they are. And they're really just all about community and walking away from an event feeling like your heart is full. And like, man, this is a great way to showcase veganism to people. You know, I tell people all the time, I don't make vegan events for vegans, even though all of them are called vegan something. Because people like me, I can go to the middle of nowhere and find vegan shit in a gas station. I'm not worried about people like me. And you can't make me more vegan. Vegan Street Fair and all the events that I do are showpieces to highlight the vegan food and the vegan lifestyle to non-vegans, the ones that still think it's salad and tofu and boring. It's none of those things. It's actually the opposite. And I just want to plant as many seeds as possible. So get your booties out there, bring friends, and enjoy yourself.
What's a website and what's social media?
At Vegan Street Fair, veganstreetfair.com. All the normal vegan street fairs. We have all of them.
And the last 2 questions we ask all our guests can go back to anything we've talked about, anything you want to say. Question number 1 is this. Who inspires you?
Oh, my children. My children. I know that seems silly, but they are some of the purest, most beautiful souls I've ever met. They allow me to see life from a different perspective, you know, because of my very traumatic childhood. I am able to sort of watch how the world should look and how the world should feel from very pure souls. They are inclusive. They are friendly. They talk to everyone. They're kind. And they don't have the bitterness of the world running through them. They inspire me to just be myself and trust myself and know that the world isn't a scary place. They inspire me.
And the final question is not a question at all. It's a statement to finish. Finish it any way you like. Tell me something good.
The universe is always conspiring in your favor. So trust it. Even though some days you may feel like the world is against you, everything is against you, release control of what you think your life is supposed to be and trust that the universe is providing to you everything that you could possibly need in every single stage of your life. You don't have to force things because goodness is everywhere. You are put on this planet at this point in time to live a human experience. Try not to make it tumultuous. Try not to make it stressful. Try to just trust yourself and the world to give you everything that can elevate you to the highest version of yourself you could possibly be.
Thank you, Jessica, for sharing so much good stuff about yourself, your passion for life, and good food. Next time on World Gone Good.
I remember one of my daughter's teachers said, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard, and mile by mile is an impossible trial, right? So if you break it down to inch by inch, that's why I like to break it down into the little step sequences, then you're just learning, 5 different weight shifting steps. It's just 5 steps. And sometimes the steps are just walk forward, right, left, right, kick. Walk back, left, right, left, touch.
Christy Grant invites us all to put on our boots, take to the streets, and dance the night away. She is a country line dance instructor whose Kickin' Country SBs brings her community together. We talk the good talk of trying something new, stepping, or in this case, two-stepping, outside our comfort level, and simply letting go and allowing the music to take over. Get ready for a big dose of yeehaw on our next all-new episode. Until then, be good.